Come fly with me, come fly with me. Was a terrible idea for a sketch show. What were you thinking, Lucas and Williams?
Oh, it was a different time. All those 10 years ago.
Welcome, wherever you are, to Alf-splaining with me, Ben Baker.
And me, John Matthews.
And this is a programme where we look at the sitcom Alf and just talk about it like a couple of pals around a bonfire, imagining taking flight with Alf himself. Why? Why do we say that? Because the episode is called Come Fly With Me.
Oh, of course it is. It all ties in, listeners. It all ties in.
And it first aired in the Americas on May 11th, 1987. But if you're a German person, John's got the German DVD there, and he's going to tell us what the German title of this episode was.
The German title. We've reached the end of the season, of course, ladies and gentlemen.
We have. I was going to ease into that. I didn't want people to get too maudlin.
Oh, I'm sorry. On the German DVD, which we've been looking at all season because for a long time it was the only way to get the full unexpurgated Alf episodes. This episode in German was called Der blinde Passagier, which seems to mean the stowaway.
Oh, okay. The director of this episode was Peter Baldwin, who did the last episode and is still not Derek from Coronation Street.
I'm frustrated he's not, because I'd prepared so much information about Derek from Coronation Street.
Yeah, no, it feels like we're being robbed. And similarly, we're being robbed with a writer. It was a new person, the brilliantly named Nelson Costello, who sadly did very little, according to his IMDb, but did Spencer for Hire, Coach, Jag, and Hercules Legendary Journeys. That's quite a mix.
Yeah, his star shone briefly and brightly. And it sounds like a made-up name, and I just wondered if it was like a pseudonym for somebody, but I found no information about that. But Nelson Costello, what a great name. It just rolls off the tongue beautifully.
But when you were looking, did you find the one who murdered a man in 1969?
I did find that one, yeah, and I did just have to check he wasn't writing Alf episode from his prison cell.
Yeah, I was so excited. I'm like, oh, great, I'm going to murder him. But no, it's different one. There's a band from Memphis as well who were on Bandcamp called Nelson Costello, presumably after the murderer.
Presumably,
not the Alf writer. But, you don't know. You don't know what youngsters are into these days. Alf Mania must be sweeping eventually. We've done enough of these episodes that surely we've kickstarted some sort of phenomenon.
Well, when we're out and about with our Alf-splaining merchandise, our Alf-splaining caps, jackets, T-shirts and yo-yos, maybe we'll see if kids come up to us and say, we love Alf-splaining, it's cool. Maybe that's what will happen.
Yeah. When we're out in the Alf-splaining battle bus, going from town to town. So we have a cold open, which is now traditional for setting off the plot in these Alf episodes. And Alf is reading Collier's magazine. Sorry, that should read Cat Lover's magazine. He excitedly calls in Willie, dressed in his finest salmon shirt.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing. That's an early Willie's wardrobe for you there. They won a copy of
Cat Lover's Monthly.
Yes.
Which he was disappointed to find it had no recipes in it. So the cat stuff still plays well 25 episodes in. It's still...
Oh, it'll always will.
It's still the main thing. At the end of the season, the cat stuff is still top-notch.
So Willie goes, "Oh, you didn't win. Fuck off." Because
you're freeloading cloth moon man,
piece of shit. Sorry, it's the end of the season. I'm getting a bit giddy.
Yeah.
But it's a very American thing, the Publishers Clearinghouse, where you basically door-to-door magazine subscriptions.
I wrote down, find out what this is, and then I did go and find out what it is, and I didn't really still understand what it was, so I just sort of, I lost interest after a while and gave up finding out what the Publishers Clearinghouse was.
Well, according to the research I've read, Publishers Clearinghouse is an American company. It's direct bulk marketing stuff to you. And apparently you say, if you order all these magazines, you'll be entered into a sweepstake and you might win some shit. And it's still going. Still a thing. It's translated mostly to online, as everything else has now. So you wouldn't get the comedy visual, which fails massively when it's like...
disastrous. Oh, yeah.
Willie's opening the door. He says, how many magazines did you order? And what you expected when he opens that door?
I'm expecting an avalanche.
A tsunami of periodicals.
Pile of magazines, at least Willie's height, come bearing down on him.
And what do you get?
A mild mudslide.
Yeah, about 30, something like that.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fairly normal.
I mean, it'll cost a bit, but it's probably not requiring the extra bin, which will be coming into play later on in the show. If that's a tease for you to keep listening, there is an extra bin coming into the plot.
Extra bins coming up, ladies and gentlemen. Bins incoming.
So, Willie says...
Alf, you didn't win any sweepstakes. You've subscribed to hundreds of magazines.
Well, that explains this personal thank you note from Ed McMahon.
Which is, of course, the most impenetrable pop culture reference of the week.
I agree. This whole segment, I was wondering if Publishers Clearinghouse counts as an impenetrable pop culture moment on its own, because I didn't understand it. But the icing on the cake of Ed McMahon, which I did look into, and he wasn't related to Publishers Clearinghouse.
No, he worked for a competitor, American Family Publishers.
Stay right where you are, folks. You may be the winner of $1 million. This is Ed McMahon, and I urge you to watch your mail for $1 million message from me. Look for the envelope with my picture on it from American Family Publishers. If you receive this envelope, you may already be the winner of $1 million. I will personally award this giant prize. So look for your $1 million envelope this week. Be sure it's from American Family. It could make you a millionaire.
Well, I think people will probably know Ed McMahon as a name if you're into TV and stuff like that. Obviously, he was the second banana, I believe, was the official title to Johnny Carson for 30 years. I'd worked with him before that on various programs. So Ed McMahon, he's not so much impenetrable himself, but just the fact that he didn't actually do the thing which people said there was his famous for doing.
Ed McMahon will become more familiar to us as we work our way through more episodes of Elf, of course, in future seasons.
Yeah, well, yes, he will be appearing.
So no spoilers there, but keep that in mind.
No spoilers, but he will be appearing.
But he will be there. Yeah, he's coming up, yeah.
Not in this, he's dead. But not in Elf's Learning. I mean, we could try.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know, what's your necromancy like?
It's excellent, actually. Yeah, we could do a bit of old... Calabar.
Bit of Gypsy Rose ballads. Get up, Blackpool, Pleasure Beach.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's we've reached the end of the season, but listen out in season 2 for the reincarnated corpse of Ed McMahon, the new comedy character on Alf's Planning.
Keep them subscriptions coming in. So, I asked you what your necromancy were like, but I'd also like to ask, what's your cappuccino making skills like?
Well, I do like a bit of grated cheese on it, I must say.
Well, so does Alf.
Does he?
Or the old Alpha, as he refers to himself 35,000 times in this small opening scene.
Yeah.
Willie, Kate, I have something to tell you. This time the old Alfers really won something.
What now? 11 records for a penny?
No. This time the Alfers won stuff for everybody. Pony rides for Brian, tennis lessons for Lynn, dinner and dancing for you two, and best of all, for the old Alfer, a toaster.
Not just a toaster, John.
Why? What does it do?
A talking toaster.
Listen to this, listeners, now. The toaster. This is very much Chekhov's toaster at this point in the script.
Yes.
If you bring a toaster in at this early in the script, you know that toaster's going to do something incredible in the third act.
But the question is, did Grant and Naylor see this episode?
I'd hope so. 2
sitcoms with talking toasters.
Yeah.
Granted, one of them's a bit more...
Maybe they didn't then. Maybe they didn't, because if you had seen this, you'd think, oh, it's been done.
It's just a theoretical toaster. Don't suggest that there will be a real toaster in this episode. This is just a theoretical gift as part of a real estate lure. And the catch is a half-hour talk about vacation homes 7 hours drive away. So Willie's saying, no, this will never happen. I will never do this. I will never do. It's a sitcom, ladies and gentlemen. It's a sitcom, but you can see where this is going.
The first thing I did at this point was I got the old map out. I got the old globe. Now we know that the Tanners live in sort of northwest LA somewhere.
Yes.
Our 7-hour car drive from there would take you as far as Phoenix in Arizona, maybe Tucson, somewhere in South Arizona, maybe Baja, California, or assorted resorts in northern Mexico. So that is where Rancho Estates is located. They don't specifically say where it is, but it must be sort of on the border of Mexico, somewhere down Southern California, maybe even Southern Arizona.
That was the kind of vibe I was getting from it, certainly. But then again, Rancho doesn't mean anything except mild racism, I guess. So, you know what? I've been keeping my excitement in, but who appears?
Yeah, it's almost like we realise it's the end of season party and all the old favourites are coming back. Here's Mr. Ochmonek.
There's Trevor. And I can best describe Trevor as dressed as a series of chocolate pretzels submerged in piss.
I was looking at Trevor's shirt, trying to work out how I'd describe it, and then I realised I could see through time. So
it's a hell of a thing. So Trevor has walked in with that bin we were talking about.
Trevor has bought them a bin, which right at the start of the episode, a kind and thoughtful gesture.
Yeah,
a nice neighbour.
You're waiting for the drop, but no. It just seems to be a nice thing. It's a very nice bin as well. It's not like a ratty old thing.
No, yeah, it's not an Oscar the Grouch style bin here. This is a proper modern sort of plastic bin. Because, of course, the Tanners' garbage cans have been overflowing with all the magazines that Alf has been subscribing to.
All 30 of them.
All 30 of them. Maybe there were some more. But the point is, Trevor's tidied them all up as well. He's not just brought him a bin. He's tidied up all the overflowing magazines, brought them a bin. What a nice man.
I mean, he is keeping the perfume samples in them all. Because
it is the wife's birthday.
Yeah, which is nice. It's nice of him, isn't it?
But I just want to start. Let's keep this in mind. What a nice man Trevor is.
And it's going to get nicer because he's about to invite the Tanners to that very ranch because they've got the same letter. And he's like, let's go as pals. And Willie goes, no, we're not interested. And Trevor looks genuinely upset about it. He's like,
exactly.
Because of me.
At which point Willie says, no, we'd love to speak the weekend with you folk.
You scum.
But he doesn't want to have to drive 7 hours as nobody would.
No.
But there's a revelation happens.
We're not interested in a 7-hour drive.
Oh, you can fly there in 1 hour.
Yeah, sure, but who could afford it?
I'll fly you there for nothing. My friend lets me borrow his plane on weekends.
You're a pilot?
Yeah, I flew in Korea. Over Incheon, I took some commie flak in my ribs. You want to see the scar?
What are the chances of that happening?
I know. No catches at all. But, I mean, genuinely, I'm saying this, like, he genuinely seems to want to spend time with Willie. He does. Wants to be a pal.
If my next-door neighbour offered to fly me to a resort with his pals playing the weekend, I'd be grateful. I'd be gratitude to him all year round. What a nice thing to do.
Yeah. So, obviously, it's divided up who wants to go and who doesn't. Willie doesn't. Lynn's fine if they don't have to see Mr. Ochmonek in a bathing suit.
Well, that's just rude. There we go. Body shaming Mr. Ochmonek after all he's done for them, giving them a bin, he's going to fly them on holiday, he's tidied up their garden, and they're just fat shaming him. It's outrageous.
I don't know. I think it might just be too much. It might be too much man for her. She's only 15, you know.
Nah, yeah.
Yeah. So, nobody wants to go on this holiday more than Alf.
Yeah.
And there is a little back and forth there, which I very much enjoyed.
Even if you could get me in a plane with Trevor, we still have the problem of leaving Alf all alone.
Well, now, maybe that's not that big a problem. Alf has gone 6 months without starting a fire.
That feels also like foreshadowing.
Yeah, someone's changing a sign very soon. 6 months without incident. Also, what fires was he starting in the house?
Yes, what was the grease fire?
Oh, yeah, grease fire. Well, that would have been about 6 months, so maybe that's it.
Yes.
Maybe that's it. It's just very solid continuity.
We'll nail this timeline down if it absolutely kills us. But no, Alf is very excited to be going on the holiday, and he comes in a Hawaiian shirt. Now, is this the first time we've seen Alf in a Hawaiian shirt?
That is exactly where I was about to go. We've talked about the German hit parade albums where Alf is always in a fantastic flamboyant shirt doing some sort of beach activity, and it felt like it didn't represent the programme we'd currently seen. But now, hook 'em up.
Well, yes, and a lot of Alf merch involves him wearing a Hawaiian shirt. If you look at pictures of Alf toys and cartoons and things on the internet, a lot of them have in a Hawaiian shirt. This is the first time I think we've seen him.
Yeah, I think so. It's very much of the time, isn't it? It's the kind of the Poochie thing, you know? A Hawaiian shirt makes everyone cool.
Yeah, exactly. It's shorthand for so many things, from big fat party guy to gay next door neighbour.
So, Alf is ready to go. Here we go. No, Alf, stay. Which is like,
he can't come.
I get that it's going to be hard to take him, but leaving him as well, you didn't even want to leave him for a night, like several months ago.
Yeah.
I don't know. I find it highly hypocritical.
Yeah, they're all they've lurched from not really wanting to go to Rancho Relaxo or whatever it is, to being desperate to go to the extreme that they would happily leave Alf behind to burn the house down or sell it to gypsies or I don't know.
Set fire to gypsies and then burn the house down, yeah. He's big on fire this week. But understand that Alf's furious because it was his letter. He's,
yes.
and he wants his talking toaster.
Yep.
So it's just agreed. Alf is going to stay at home. ...
So therefore, yeah. So we cut to another scene, which is in...
I do not think there is a harder cut between two scenes. They're going from the nice, chintzy Tanner household to what looks like, basically the back of a van. Wobbling around gently.
Yeah, it's like a set of a transit van from the Sweeney or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm assuming, therefore, at this point, we won't see Alf again for the rest of the episode because he's still at home, right? That's my assumption at this point.
Of course, yeah. Which they should really rename it if Alf's not going to be in it. It should be called Trevor.
Trevor's
exactly. doing the Lions, God's work, if you will, with the comedy, and he is in his element.
Oh,
he is singing the Sinatra back catalogue.
Yeah,
which is the first time that the episode title is actually featured on the show.
I suppose it is, isn't it? Yes.
Come fly with me, come fly away. Come fly with me down old Acapulco Bay. This is Captain Ochmonek speaking. For those with cameras, on your left is the Tahunga toxic waste dump. I'll fly in lower so you can get a better view.
No, don't. We can see it fine from here.
I had the map out to find out where Rancho Estates was at this point, so I had another look, and Tahunga, or Tachunga, I can't remember how it's pronounced. It is a real place, but it's only in northeast LA. So they've only been there for about 5 minutes at this point.
So they probably know it anyway.
Yeah, possibly. I don't even know if there is a real toxic waste dump there. Just to be clear to the viewers, accuracy is our watchword on Alf's planning.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
But I'm not sure there is indeed a toxic waste dump in Tahunga.
It would be on the Alf tour that we'd be doing where this takes off.
One day.
Lynn complains about the cargo they're taking with them, which is a bunch of pigs who apparently stink.
Yeah, this is preceded by Brian saying,
"Where's that smell coming from?"
Of an uninspiring character over the 25 episodes we've seen. I don't think he's delivered a line better than "Where's that smell coming from?"
And the thing is, the character of Brian, he's sat there, he's doing notes. They're all just on regular chairs in the back of this plane. He's just sat there like, read a comic or something. Do a colouring book. Don't just sit there and stare at space, stinking things.
That's the thing. That's the other thing about this is that Mrs. Ochmonek is there as well, but she still hasn't said anything this episode. She's there just as purely as ballast at the moment.
There is a very odd sort of balance of Ochmoneks in this one. It's like Raquel is there, but almost passive until the end.
Before I started watching Alf again, I remembered Raquel being the neighbour. The what's the word? I don't know. Driving force. There's a word for that. I can't remember what it is. It doesn't matter. But it's been Trevor all the way this season. Raquel's been there, obviously. Don't get me wrong. But Trevor has been the main neighbour.
And we get up to not quite my top Willie moment, but one of my favourite lines from the episode, when Lynn asks Willie why they have to fly facing backwards.
I guess so we can keep our eye on the pigs.
Of course he does, yes.
Combined with him dressed as Bill Beaumont from A Question of Sport at this point, I genuinely laughed a lot.
Yeah, if there was action figures, this would be Holiday Willie.
So, just confirm, there is a smell, but it's pigs. Nothing else.
Yeah, it's not nothing else.
So, another quite hefty jump now.
With a rather jaunty little sting that leads into this, going bop-de-bop-de-bop-de-bop-de-bop.
Very much you think like Alf Clausen has written all these stings for the show and he's getting them all in whether, we can get paid at the end of the season for them.
Yeah. Very long and awkward. It's an establishing shot of a hotel, obviously. Then we get an establishing shot of the room, and it's a very long, awkward scene where the bellboy sort of gets his promo shot by looking directly at the camera as he takes a tip from Willie, then leaves.
I would like to say that bell hop looks just like Shane Ritchie did in the late 80s.
Yeah, I suppose he does.
And I want it to be him so much, I refuse to check him.
Fine. That is canon then. Shane Ritchie was a bellboy in an episode of Alf. Let's start that rumour.
Best acting he's done ever. So, yeah, they're in their room and the bellhop goes and it's like, right, party time. Oh, no. The pushy holiday home rep is here. Bill Loman, which I assume is a not especially subtle reference to Death of a Salesman.
Yeah.
Not even the first one in Alf.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's the reference before, obviously. But yeah, I mean, obviously all the viewers at this point leapt up like that meme of Leonardo DiCaprio going, good God, it's Archie Hahn.
If you didn't, you'd be a fool.
Yeah.
He's not only was he an early member of the Groundling School, the improv acts, which have become very regular in Alf for its casting.
True, yeah.
But he's in several of my favourite films. He's in The Sunshine Boys, Gremlins 2, Spinal Tap, and Phantom of the Paradise.
Phantom of the Paradise is where I remember him from.
And he's on the very first episode of Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Now, the contestants. Now, the first contestant comes from America. America has given us some great performers over the years. I'm thinking of Frank Sinatra, Marilyn Monroe, Champion the Wonder Horse. But tonight it's given us Archie Hahn. Oh, yes. You may have seen Archie in Spinal Tap or even Mork and Mindy, The Sunshine Boys. Less likely you'd have seen him in Fatal Attraction because he wasn't in it.
But yeah, what a sort of a great sort of legend Archie Hahn is, a mysterious character in the background everywhere.
A fascinating career, yeah. So he's like, right, slideshow, let's get some selling done. And Willie stands up for himself.
Yeah.
And I respect him, but it's really because we've got something to reveal.
Oh, yeah. Willie gets rid of the pushy salesman.
I mean, I would have liked the rest of the episode with them just watching a slideshow about holiday homes, don't get me wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Occasionally going, I wonder how Alf is back at home. That sort of thing. A bit of scene set, that'd been fine. But guess what?
Well, I can only assume, seeing as though it's now been 2 minutes and 20 long seconds since the titular Alf has been in the show, I'm assuming he's going to make a comeback.
He's only in the bathroom, isn't he?
I can't believe it.
He's only in. He's stowed away in Kate's suitcase, minus her clothes.
Yeah, he's done this by leaving all Kate's clothes at home. So,
yeah, what a lovely
textbook
man.
Alf. No, it's brilliant.
Because he felt neglected, and the audience kind of go, like they're not sure what the tone to take is.
No, Alf is kind of plaintive at this point. Almost, I'm a part of this family, Willie.
Yeah, he's proper like melodrama, Alf.
Yeah.
No time to dwell on this emotion because Trevor knocks on the adjoining door as their neighbours again. And he's just delighted. He's delighted to be so close to his pals, the Tanners.
Looks like we're neighbors again. You want to go catch the 4 show?
Actually, we were just thinking about going home. What do you think? Would that be out of the question?
He's joking, right?
No. The plane ride was such fun, we can't wait to fly again.
And I've got school tomorrow.
On Saturday?
Traffic school.
He's great. He comes in, he does the hustle.
Yeah.
He promised to lend Kate some clothes from Raquel's wardrobe. He's an absolute delight. He's great. I mean, what nice people the Ochmoneks are.
And they want to go again, and he's like, what? You crazy? But the plane has been sent off to Central America for reasons he does not wish to dwell on.
Yeah. Reasons unknown. We can all work it out.
The pigs are full of cocaine. That's it. So now we've got two things. We've got an over-friendly Trevor who wants to do all the hanging out, and Alf, who is Alf.
Yeah.
So they don't really do anything. They're like, we'll stay in the room, because we can't trust Alf. Even though we could trust him at home on his own, we can't trust him in this room, wherever it is.
I also have my suspicions that this hotel room is actually just Dorothy's apartment from another angle.
It does seem very much so.
There's been a bit of cost cutting there.
So you get this very odd cut to a scene where you're not entirely sure when or what is happening, but it turns out it's Willie creeping out of his bedroom because he couldn't sleep because of the Ochmonek snoring.
After all they've done, all he's doing is complaining about them. They can't help that, Willie. They can't help it.
But he wakes up Lynn while he's trying to escape the room. I don't know where he's going or anything, but he's off. He's like, I can't sleep, so I'm getting up. It's still dark.
Yeah,
at this point.
It must be 5 or 6 in the morning or something like that. Kids of the Tanner family are all sleeping in the same room. Lynn's on the sofa. Brian's in a sleeping bag on the floor, right next to Alf, where Alf was sleeping on the floor.
Yeah, it's because Alf has
wandered off.
He's buggered off.
I can't imagine that'll be a particularly pleasant experience, sleeping near to Alf.
If he's been in with the pigs.
He'll stink, basically. But,
comes back to it every time. What does Alf smell like?
He's always up eating and whatever else, what other ablutions he does during the night. But,
yeah, and so Alf has... he's gone. Willie does a big panic. But forgetting that once again, the Ochmoneks are next door. Starts bellowing.
Kate, I can't find Alf at such ear-shattering volume. It's,
Yes, but here's Alf. Alf comes in the door with a load of catfish, because he's been catfish fishing.
Good for him.
Not because that's not catfishing, not the, what was.
No, these are actual catfish.
But now, actual cat's fish. Fish for cats. Yeah. And Alf was just wanting to do something nice for the family. And so is Trevor, because he's back in the room saying, come on, get your knickers on, let's go into town. So it's all chaos. It's all chaos.
He's heard them shouting for Alf, and he's come in and almost immediately forgotten that he doesn't know who Alf is.
Yeah, so Alf says, right, don't worry, I'm off to the bathroom, I'm going to deal with this fish. And we hear the sound of Willie's razor, and then we get my top Willie moment of this episode.
Once again, we've come together, hands across the Pennines. It's mine as well.
Oh, morning, Trevor.
Good, you're already up.
Hey, we've got a bidet.
It's Brian. In the morning, his voice is a lot lower.
Sounds like he's shaving.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I won't allow him to have a mustache.
That's good. You gotta take a stand.
Since Alf has moved in, Willie has probably been weird before, but he's this massive increase of bullshitting, and then suddenly, but Trevor, each their own.
Yeah,
he's fine, but it's not fine, is it? Because if you want the holiday, you gotta go to the big sales presentation.
What? Mandatory for all of us out of this room at the same time?
At which point,
yes,
I'm fairly sure Trevor looks at the camera.
He looks directly into your soul, ladies and gentlemen.
And says, yeah, what the heck, get crazy. Have you seen these nuts? I mean, that's what he does.
Yeah, he's suddenly aware. There's this clarity of mind, and he realises he's the third banana in a sitcom on television. Amazing. Weird. A really weird thing to happen, and quite exciting.
Yeah, so then we lose the entire day. We've no idea what's happened during the day.
No.
As it's now the evening, and they're all having a lovely... Not Alf, obviously. Alf's not having a lovely meal. Everyone else is having a lovely meal, but not Alf. And Willie's not coping very well with the idea of thinking about Alf left in the room.
Yeah.
Once again, happy to leave him in the house.
But not in a hotel room.
And possibly with some good reason, as Alf is filling his time with his new talking toaster.
Toast. 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 Toast now.
And I love the fact, after all this build-up, because he's been mentioning throughout the episode, how desperate he is to get a talking toaster.
Yeah.
I adore how absolutely lame this toaster is. If you'd imagine the world's lamest talking toaster, it's lamer than that.
But Alf's loving it.
Oh, he loves it. Toast.
So, yeah, Alf's having a ball with his talking toaster.
He's toasting bread. He's not eating any of it. He's just toasting it. There's piles and piles of bread.
Yeah. There's at least like 8 loaves worth of toast.
There's a massive amount of toast in that room.
And of course he thinks, is there anything else I could toast today? Perhaps food-wise. ... Back to the meal. So Kate borrowed a dress from Raquel, which means she looks both heavily pregnant and also the set from Telly Addicts in the 80s. It's a lot of pastel.
Her regular wardrobe is so full of pastels that if this hadn't been a plot point, I don't know I would have noticed.
No.
I'd have just thought she was wearing something light and flowing because she's on holiday and not even considered that it was a very, very ugly dress that Raquel had lent her.
And so this is a meal where Trevor is filling his face with shrimp despite being heavily allergic. ... Keep
that in mind, people. Keep that in mind, right? We've had Chekhov's toaster, now the foreshadowing shrimp.
Yeah, and he bats it off by saying, something about Willie's Mexican dinner, which it's time for.
Yes.
Not IMDb.
Okay.
But Alf Wiki trivia.
Oh, no.
Trevor's lines about Willie eating Mexican dinner were swapped with Cantonese dinner in the Latin-Spanish dub.
No way.
Yeah. So just share the racism around.
Well.
Bill Loman turns up again, and he's like, he puts the heavy hand on Lynn to say how much they want a holiday home. And Lynn fights back admirably.
Oh, yes.
In fact, I think she's really funny in this episode.
Yeah.
She got some great lines, does Andrew Elson, but it's really weird.
Yeah, no, she's very forceful in her opinion. She knows, she's been taught well how to deal with pushy timeshare salesman.
But by Willie or Alf?
Well, no, not Alf. Alf doesn't seem to know anything about timeshare, does he?
No. To be honest with you, I don't think we're going to see Alf much more for the rest of this episode.
No.
What's that running past the window?
What's that?
The rather large window behind the Ochmoneks.
Willie's looking frazzled, as he usually does.
He's not having a good time.
Trevor says, "Hey, you're still worried about your room?" And they pass it on. And then we cut to this shot of a rather frantic Alf running outside past the window.
Oh, God, it made me laugh. It's making me laugh thinking about it.
And then he runs back again, looking equally panicked, carrying a fire extinguisher. And I think that is a brilliant visual gag. I think that was really strong.
The thinking of it now is making me laugh. Genuinely.
There have been a lot of great visual gags in this series. And there's something the Alf show does really well. They're very skilled. Whoever's doing this, it's brilliant.
And because you get such a big moment like that, Max Wright gets to do a classic like Three Stooges running off and panicking.
Yeah.
And it's just a load of stuff happening at this point. But it's funny.
Willie, was that?
Yes, it was.
I warned them about that Mexican food.
And then, where's that obviously lead? Back of the plane. We're immediately back of the plane.
I was really surprised by that. I thought this whole episode was going to be them and assorted timeshare antics. But no, we've done the timeshare, now we're back on the plane on the way home.
Well, they've been kicked out early because Alf set a fish fire.
There you go. Chekhov's toaster's paid off, ladies and gentlemen. The hotel room was burnt down because the toaster caught fire.
All ticks, yep. And because they've had to go early, Trevor has not got all the shrimping out of him, quite frankly. And while he's flying, transporting jackals, obviously this time. We're just transporting jackals. It's very straightforward, I'm sure you...
Yeah. Quite possibly the worst weekend of our entire lives.
You haven't stopped complaining since I burned down that room.
You, back with the jackals.
They're hyenas, and I don't like them.
They're jackals.
then why are they laughing at me?
So Trevor starts to think it's the war again as he's having a big allergic reaction.
Raquel, I feel a little woozy. Get me a bromo, why don't you? Which is just, it's not anything.
Raquel goes for a shit.
Yeah. Bromo, meanwhile, being a brand of aspirin or something from America.
Right.
Nothing more complicated than that. If you search for bromo, you find all sorts of things, including tablets to clean your swimming pool with. And I'm assuming those aren't the tablets that Trevor wanted.
I can't rule it out. Not with Trevor.
After some searching, it turned out there were bromo seltzer, a brand of antacid.
Unfortunately, he's not getting helped, and Raquel is on the shitter. So, of course, it remains for Alf to step up and fly the plane, to which Willie says, he can't even work the toaster. But they let him anyway, even though they've got no confidence in him, because they go, well, he was in a spaceship, I guess. So,
yes, I mean,
yeah.
They sort of reference the fact that Alf doesn't really know how to fly this particular plane, but that the laws of aerodynamics are the same throughout the universe. As Alf takes the controls of the plane, Kate goes, look out for that mountain. And Alf's reaction to that is absolutely fantastic. His face contorts into this look of shock and terror that I've never seen before. And it's a really funny thing. And he saves the day, of course, and then does a few loop-the-loops just for lols. Whilst Raquel is still swilling around in the latrine at the back, of course, Alf is looping the plane.
Yeah. And so, of course, Willie has to take the credit.
Yeah. Yeah, we get a very expositional line from Trevor as they're back at the house now. You know?
They're back home now. It's, again, just another coat back home now.
Yeah, bang home.
Everyone's fine.
I've got to hand it to Susanna. You did a great job of landing that plane. And, 12 words or whatever. Yeah. Just clears everything up nicely. Fine, that'll do.
And it's literally like all the dots have now been full stopped. So everyone's fine, except for the toaster, which is looking worse for wear.
But they've still got it. It didn't die in the fire.
They've still got it. Oh, yeah. Well, Al's still working on it in the kitchen when the Ochmoneks leave. And Alf is basically emotionally blackmailing them for more.
Yeah.
For more praise at saving the day. And Willie starts this big, deadpan speech about how great Alf is. And you think this is Max Wright's big moment. He's like going to do this big, oh yeah, we think you're really great. But then it's just, oh no, the toaster starts working again.
The catfish the season of Alf begins ends as we expected, with catfish gradually rising from a broken toaster.
And it ends. It just ends.
Yeah.
End of term, I guess.
I suppose it is.
And so all that remains for this particular episode, I think we'll do a summing up of the entire of season 1 and its own episode.
Yeah, good idea.
But for now, MVP, the final MVP of the series, and I really do want to give it to anyone else but Trevor.
I know. We're giving it to I've certainly given it to Trevor, as it were, a lot this season. And maybe possibly when he didn't necessarily deserve it, but I think he really does deserve it this episode.
How can it not be? He's a whirlwind of chaos that not even Alf can match at this point.
Yeah.
And again, we just see loads of different sides of him.
A peerless performance of a man doing nothing but good and yet getting nothing but criticism from those awful tanners next door. There should be a sitcom from the perspective of the Ochmoneks where they're just doing nice things all the time. And all they get is this noisy family next door with their crazy crackpot schemes and keeping them awake at night with, I don't know, rock and roll music, exploding televisions.
Next season, join us for Ochmonek explaining, where we're going to actually concentrate on the characters that matter. Until then, we'll still be on the old social medias at Housesplaining on X, Instagram.
But if you want to get extra content of us and videos and all sorts of music and stuff like that, Alfsplaining Extra on Patreon.
And now it ends. Now it just ends. And now it ends.
Now it ends. No,
it's ended now. Now it's ended.
Bye-bye.
Has
it ended yet?
Yes.
It ended.
Yeah.
Is that it? Good. Right. Cheerio.
That'll told the little bastards. Hang on, is that still recording?
crazy.